Hey, this is Michael Janda. I am here with Elizé, and we are going to talk about how to succeed as a remote designer. So Elizé is a freelance UX designer in Los Angeles, super successful. She has a great Instagram channel and a great YouTube channel, and she's sharing a lot of great content. And she's going to give us some thoughts about how to succeed as a remote designer. Elizé, what are some of your thoughts on that topic? How have you been able to do that?
Yeah. So when I first started working remote, I definitely would say I failed at it because I didn't have a system in place. I thought, there's so many perks to working from home. I can work on the couch. I don't have to, I can kind of work whatever hours I want. And that's what I thought were the perks. And therefore I really did not complete my projects in the time that I thought I would, in the time that I allotted for it. And I thought, oh man, I'm really not good at working remote. A few years later, I was working at an agency and working at a company. And then when I started to work from home again, I decided to do it. I was like, oh no, I need to have a system in place because I do not want to fail, but I do want to work from home. And so one of the things that I did was I made sure I had a dedicated working environment. So right now I am very fortunate. I have a whole office that I dedicated to my work, but you don't have to have a whole room. You could have a place in your room or a place in your living room or somewhere in your home that you dedicate to your working environment where you can have your keyboard, your mouse, maybe your monitor, like a sketch pad paper, something in that space that makes you realize that this is a place for work. And you separate that from your home in some ways or your home life. Because it was really hard for me to, put on my work hat sometimes. And so that's one of the first important things that I did that has really tremendously helped me. When I go into this room, I'm like, it's work time. The second thing that I've done was I made sure to have a consistent schedule. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm basically working 8 to 5. Now, I don't think everyone has to have like a 9 to 5 schedule. You can work 12 to 8 or whatever works for you. But having that consistency is really helpful for me so that I'm not like making plans to do Pilates at 12 p.m. and then I'll work after that. And it really helps to kind of help me to focus on when I'm working and when I'm not working. And then the other thing kind of on top of that is I make sure I schedule my week on Monday for the whole week. So in my Google Calendar, I have like my whole week laid out of what I'm doing on what day and what times. So that if again, someone's like, hey, do you want to go get a manicure, pedicure on Thursday? Instead of like, yeah, I could probably do that. I have to look at my schedule and say, oh, you know what? Actually, I do have to complete this project at that time. Can we do after 5 p.m. or I have to shift things around? But at least having that helps put some of those blinders on to the things that I can just get excited about and change my whole schedule around.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I do is I make sure to have frequent team meetings, virtual video conferences with my clients once a week. Because number one, it makes you feel like you've seen someone that day. You don't want to feel like, oh, you're not talking to anyone. You're siloed in this room. So I feel like I get to engage with people. I get to see my client and I get to build a relationship still, even though I don't see them on the day-to-day basis. I feel like seeing someone's micro expressions, seeing them laugh. I enjoy making people laugh. Having that connection helps me to feel like I'm still connected with the world on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. All super, super good advice. So breaking that down to the 4 points, dedicated workspace, dedicated hours, like setting a schedule, planning your week in advance so that Monday you're setting your schedule for your whole week. And then the fourth thing is regular, at least weekly video interaction with your clients, right? Those are the 4 points.
Yeah.
Super, super, super valuable advice. And while you were talking, I was thinking, you have to look at it as you own a business, but you also work at your business. And you have to treat it like I'm my own employer, but I'm an employer. This has to be a job for me. If I'm freelancing and I'm trying to crank out work and trying to find clients and trying to earn a living here, I have to treat it like a job and not just sit on the couch and watch soap operas while I'm eating popcorn and I'm kind of working. You're never going to succeed that way. You really have to go for it and treat it like you work at your own company. And, one of the things that you mentioned that was the key to me in making it successful is that video conferencing with clients. You have to help your clients see you as a part of their team, not just some robot out there that's producing UX work for them. They have to see you as part of the team. And you do that by being on a Slack channel or something, by showing your availability. Like if you're out to lunch, then put that as your status message on your Slack. And then when you're back, they see that you're green again and that you're in office, so that they feel like, oh, Elizé, she's there, she's available, and I can ping her. That just goes so far into entrenching you with a client where they feel like you're part of their organization. And the video conferencing that you're doing is so critical to that too, because you want to bring your humanity into it. You want them to feel like they're building a real relationship with you. Like they like you and they look at you as they do their employees. That's somebody that they want to be interacting with and working with. So all those things I think are good tips on how to be successful as a remote designer.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, because when I'm talking about scheduling your week in advance, that's for you, right? But also, if your calendar is shared with your team, then your whole team can see what you're working on a day-to-day basis as well. And maybe when you're available or when you're unavailable, etc., they can take a look at that as well and make not like you're somebody who's like potentially working on something at some time. They kind of have an idea and a glimpse and that exposure to your schedule.